everyone, myself Nishtha Desai, and my today's presentation on topic is sacrifice and suffering, the heart of Karunras in literature and film. These are my academic information. These are table of contents, and my research question is how do literature and film across difficult how literature and film across different cultural tradition evoke Karun Rasa through themes of suffering and sacrifice, and what is its impact on the contemporary audience. And my hypothesis is Karun Rasa is an aesthetic experience rooted in the compassion, suffering, and emotional catharsis is a universal element in a storytelling that transcend cultural and temporal boundaries. By analyzing its presence in a cultural Indian epic, Shakespearean tragedy, modern literature, and cinema, this studies argues that Karun Ras remains a vital narrative force shaping audience response and reinforcing the emotional depth of sacrifice and suffering in literature and film. Introduction. So we all know that Karun Rasids means pain, loss of loss of someone, suffering of a character's life, and in the Natya Shastra, Bharat Muni gave the nine rasas. So Karun Rasas is in the sixth chapter of detailed annals in sixth chapter of Natya Shastra, and it reflects the shoka, grief, and catharsis, downfall of the characters, and lots of things. So from the Sanskrit literature we can say that in Abhignan Shankutalam by Kalidas and Mahabharat, we can find the Karun Ras in many characters. So we will discuss it. So first is a theoretical foundation of Karun Ras. So Karun Ras reflect the pain, and according to Bharat Muni, it describes the shock, grief, and making audience to emotionally to connect with the character that suffering, pain, and all those things. And Rasa and Bhava theory explains how emotions transform into the aesthetic experience. So Abhinav Gupta's interpretation suggests that Karun Rasa should evoke universal empathy, making suffering and a shared emotional experience. So there are some examples like in Mahabharata we can say that Karna's fate, in the Shakuntala's in the Abhignan Shankutalam, Shakuntala's sorrow and pain, and in the Ramayana we can find the Sita's exile, that all are reflect the Karun Rasa. So Karun Rasa in the classical literature, first of all we will discuss Abhignan Shankutalam. We can also notice that in the curse of Durvasa Rishi, Dushyant king forget the Shakuntala. So at that time how Shakuntala feel pain, suffering, and all those things. So we can find here the pain of Shakuntala, and when we heard it or read it, so we can find how Kalidas also represent the Karun Ras in the character of Shakuntala. Then Karun Rasa in the Mahabharata, in the Karna's fate, we can find in the life of Karna, we can also notice that from birth to end of his life, he's suffering a lot. He is a son of Kunti and Surya. So in the birth time, he also rejected. In the life also, he was a Sut, so he was rejected. So in many times in the Swayamvar also, Draupadi rejected Karna. So we can find that how the Karun Rasa we can reflect in the character of Karna. So we can find the that type of Karun Rasa. And then Abhimanyu's death. Abhimanyu is a son of Arjuna. So in the death time of Arjuna, Abhimanyu's, we can also find that the Chakra view system. So at that time, the Chakra view system, he was alone. And so at that aloneness, he fight a loss as he reflect the heroism. So at that time, we also can we can also feel the we can also feel the Karun Ras at that Abhimanyu's death time. So Karun Russ in William Shakespeare's Macbeth and Hamlet. I choose it why? Because of in the Macbeth there are some scenes like Lady Macbeth, the candle scene, and all that are we can find that felt Karun Russ for Lady Macbeth. At that time, death of Banco. We can also find the death of murder of Banco. We can find the Karun Ras for death of Banco. So, and in the time of a downfall of the character of Macbeth, we can also find the Karun Ras in the character of Macbeth. And in the Hamlet, we now also familiar with Hamlet also. In the play in the drama Hamlet, Hamlet's father murdered by his uncle Claudius. Claudius murdered Hamlet's father, and his mother Gertrude and Claudius married. So in Hamlet want to revenge from his uncle. So at that time also Hamlet also feel suffering, and he also feel pain. So it also reflects the Karun Ras in the character of Hamlet also. And so now Karun Ras in Indian cinemas, like in the Devdas movie, it's directed by Sanjay Leela Bhansali, and in that movie we can also find the Shah Rukh Khan also played the role of Devdas, and also Chandramukhi's role played by Madhuri Dixit, and Aishwarya Rai played the character of Paro. So from all those things, Devdas also do not in the end of life we can find how he suffers, and he can't marry with Paro, and Chandramukhi also fall in love of Devdas. So from these all in the end also how Devdas death is depicted in this movie. So we felt Karun Ras at the starting to end in many point, and the here I mentioned Mar Dala song. We can also feel Karun Ras in that song also. There are themes of the movie Devdas, heartbreak, suffering of Devdas. We can also find in the movie Devdas. And the Great Gatsby. It is a novel also, and here I take example of the movie. Baz Luhrmann's movie. Here I portrayed this movie, and we also familiar with that movie also. How Great Gatsby rejected by Tom, and in the beginning he was poor, and he became rich, but also he rejected by the old money, and how in the he lost his love Daisy also. So in the end, how he died. So we can also feel the Karun Ras in the character of Jay Gatsby. So, to conclusion, we can find that from the Indian literature to film, we can find the Karun Rasa in that all in the Indian literature, Western literature, and film studies. These are my references, and thank you.